liberation of Brussels and a large part of Belgium followed the great news from Paris with incredible speed. The Guards, who were the first in, are seen on their way to the Belgian capital. They had covered over 400 miles in 9 days. Perhaps you'll excuse my repeating that. Over 400 miles in 9 days. Meanwhile, straggling German prisoners were being rounded up, and it doesn't look as if the Belgian people were exactly broken-hearted to see them go. Then, before we in Britain had thought it possible, and sooner than the Belgians had dared to expect, the British entered Brussels. A strong force of Belgian troops entered shortly afterwards. Twice in a lifetime, Brussels had suffered the hideous tyranny and oppression of the Huns in occupation. Twice in a lifetime, the people of Brussels had welcomed liberating forces from the United Kingdom. There must have been many there who remember that day in 1918 when our king, then the Duke of York, rode with the King and Queen of the Belgians at the head of the triumphant parade of British and Allied troops. Then, as now, Brussels had been freed after 4 years of occupation by the Boche. Now, as then, the Belgian people went wild with joy and enthusiasm. Free at last. They could hardly believe it. Their welcome to the troops was something that will never be forgotten. Before the Germans fled, they set fire to that magnificent building, the Palais de Justice. It had contained many important papers which might be used as evidence against them after the war. And though they'd hoped to destroy everything in the building, much was saved, documents and books and so on. A brigadier calls on the burgomaster at the city hall where compliments were exchanged in Belgium. Scenes like those we've already witnessed in Paris were repeated here. Well, how should we feel if the Hun had been strutting in London, Manchester or Glasgow for 4 years, and then we suddenly found ourselves free again? And there was quite an orgy of destruction of Boche flags and emblems. Belgians had never given up the fight. Their underground army, the White Army, had done great work. The people themselves had fought in every way they could. Now their own troops and the Tommies were there in the capital. Once again, Brussels was rid of the Boche. This time, her freedom must endure.